And welcome back, guys, and this is Mikeratto, and for today, we're going to discuss what if Kane was booked like The Undertaker. Kane and The Undertaker, well, even though they're brothers and WWE treated them as dominant, while The Undertaker was dominant over Kane during his WWE career. And also, the two has different personas during their years in the company. We saw the appearances such as the American Badass, the Phenom, the Dead Man, the Dark Priest by The Undertaker. You see also to The Undertaker these first iterations of the Deadman persona, so on and so forth, the Mortician. And as for Kane, well, he was a monster, then he was put in a comedy act, then he was corporate Kane, and he was a monster. Well, yeah. So booking this, well, the prospect of their characters is that while both of them were book dominant, but Kane, unlike The Undertaker, while most of his time he put the other talents over just to make them go to the main event scene. Which also The Undertaker did this, but it is more noticeable in Kane when he is putting over his opponents. He will be look dominant in the build up, and when you see him in the pay-per-view itself, well, you will see him lose either in a fluke way or the opponent's winning clean. Clean as a whistle, which is some fans are actually shocked, some are actually was okay with it, some are actually angry because of how they book Kane. Well, Kane was a monster and he was losing to a lot of guys in the main roster, which some of the fans also noticed when it comes to the World Championship reigns, while the man himself, well, he declined a lot of title reigns which Vince McMahon wants him to have. He declined a lot of title reigns. Well, yeah, what if he also accept a lot of title reigns here? Well, we will see a lot of title reigns of Kane, and yeah, he will be more booked like The Undertaker, even though monsters like them are not supposed to have always be in the title matches because when there's a challenger, sometimes that said challenger will be look strong and the monsters like them, well, they sometimes look weak, especially when they're building to a new guy, this main event guy, which they will put them over. While for The Undertaker, he won a lot of world championships, but if you notice during his world championships, he was never booked like weak. And of course, during his storylines, sometimes he was booked also to put over talents, especially when they have the earn, like in that storyline, to make him weak because it was not controlled by him or by Paul Bearer, while they make him weak if the opponents had the earn, or sometimes he puts over talent while they put over talent. And Kane, well, he was booked as a monster during the build-up, and when you see this high-profile match for the pay-per-view, as I told you earlier, he was destined to lose in that match, which I told you, well, he didn't have a lot of world title reigns. He carried ECW in 2008 when there's a lot of ECW legends and they need a WWE star to actually had a star power in that brand because some of the fans, well, they don't know some of the ECW legends. And as for The Undertaker, well, he is the spotlight of SmackDown and Raw during the Attitude Era. You will see the difference between these brothers when they actually had matches, while it varies to the opponents when they are actually in the ring. When The Undertaker took the American Badass persona, while most of the time he was booked strong, but if he is putting over talent like Brock Lesnar for that example, while he is willing to lose And when he lose, well, his opponent looks more dominant, just like in Kane. But the problem with this character of Kane is the corporate Kane. Well, I'm sure that he doesn't have problems during that time. Well, because he wants also for the talents to have the spotlight because he had the spotlight before. And when you think about it, this corporate Kane was actually one of his personas that, well, he knows that he will retire soon, and he used this persona to actually make his opponents stronger. For example, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, in that matter because most of their matches are about them. Even Dolph Ziggler looked strong when he fought Corporate Kane. Well, because they have this small rivalry which Dolph won and somehow Kane wins matches with the authorities' help. When you see the monster Kane, well, he is unstoppable, especially in his 1997 run up to 1998, 1999, or even in 2000s. In his 2003 run, you will see the depth of his character, willing to burn a person live on television, while The Undertaker, while you will see him crucifying a person in a cross, also making guys like Jim Ross, while kiss Vince McMahon's behind, while you will see The Undertaker also put this marriage to Stephanie McMahon in his storyline, and a lot of stuff. The duo, when they were in a storyline together, they bring the best out of each other. What do I mean? The Brothers of Destruction saga in the WWE, as discussed here before, well, it was one of the most amazing storylines that they have. A 20 plus year of storyline which composes of two brothers, a brother who was burned and a brother who finds himself guilty because he can't save his family from that fire. And the plot twist, they thought that this little brother was the responsible for that fire, while it was the big brother's fault that the fire actually started anyways in that storyline. So what if Kane was booked like The Undertaker? Then you will see a lesser amount of Kane losing to opponents. Like he will look strong like The Undertaker, which fans will think of them as a dominant duo. And I think that if Kane looks always dominant, and yeah, even champions will be afraid of him. Just like in real life, in what he does when he's chasing for a championship. If his motivation and the storyline is like always like that, and is not booked too weak, you will see him much in the championship picture, and even WWE putting a lot of world championship reigns also to him. Though some of it, well, he denies, but in the storyline perspective, he will agree because, well, that's the character's heading. You will not see only 3 world title reigns for Kane in this timeline, maybe 7 like The Undertaker, or maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe even 10 if they allow it. Well, he can dominate brands. And even in the hardcore division, if WWE wants him to look as much dominant, well, during his hardcore championship reign, he defends the title and none of the challengers dare to challenge him. But if he stayed for that division much longer, and the storyline between Austin and Triple H, well, in that time, they made a stretch than it used to be in real life, and he dominated the hardcore division, while the fans will more appreciate the division. If someone will attack Kane, he will just destroy them backstage. So yeah, because the hardcore championship, well, if you have this person who is looking more dominant and there's the challengers fighting him, well, the 24/7 rule will actually come to fruition. Well, it comes in real life, but if you had the person who keeps on defending the title belt and not to change titles frequently. Well, yeah, you will see a person who's a champion, who's a dominant in that brand. Though in that said brand, some people don't have the same interest as the World Championship brand. Which in this timeline, if you make Kane more dominant, well, you will see him in the World Championship scene much often. Though in real life, he's more of a challenger, but in this timeline, well, he is more of a championship material because they keep him as strong as The Undertaker because they can't deny the momentum that the character is going to. As I told you, well, he can win 4 to 6 championships or 4 to 7 championships if for the world title and even a lot of mid-card titles if he wanted to. So the focus here in this what if is making him as dominant as The Undertaker in the storyline perspective. Yeah, it may look absurd to some of you, well, because, well, if you don't make someone a stepping stone for the talent to go to the main event scene and actually helping them to be demoted in the lower part of the roster, like which some of the superstars did in the past, which the opposite of Kane, he actually elevates talent, which people are praising him for. Well, I think that if he doesn't put that much of a talent, well, a lot of people will judge him just like how they judge a lot of pro wrestlers who are refusing to put over talent. But in his case, well, he is willing to put over talent, but because of his characters being, well, a monster who is dominant compared to his real life stick, and yeah, well, you will actually make the challenger of him look as much strong as possible because, well, you see that if you book someone that is strong and someone who is an underdog just beats him, it's the ultimate shock factor. Instead of having upset wins always over him, or I told you an underdog winning always against him, but it lessens the character's essence like that, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's it for today. This is Mikeratto, and it's only a short video, I know. But yeah, it's a short video for today because I'm doing stuffs also in my face versus heel and other what ifs, planning, and etc. So again, this is Mike Rato, and subscribe for more videos, and I hope you all support me. Support my Patreon in the description down below, and a huge thanks to my viewers. And as I told you in the Patreon format, well, you will see a lot of packages for the patrons who will going to actually support me in my Patreon. So yeah, I hope you all visit my Patreon for the packages and the exclusives that you can receive. Well, that's it for today, and this is Mike Rato, and thank you for watching. This is my What If. Have a good day.